And if you want burgers, you'll have your choice of 3 burgers. You got the quesadilla burger.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
Or you got the classic bacon burger.
Oh my God. I'm a burger kind of guy.
We'll start with some appetizers.
No.
Cheers to us, y'all.
Cheers.
We'll always have Applebee's.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Survivor 42, episodes 6 and 7 are over, but we're just getting started here tonight on Super Mader Brothers podcasting as we continue our coverage here of Survivor Season 42. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson, streaming live here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch to break this down as we got to our merge episode, guys, our pre-merge episode, and very much like Season 41, we got the whole hourglass happening, but a different cast and a different dynamic than in Season 41. So a lot to break down here tonight, and you know it's big, it's good,
It's good. It's big. It's Applebee's.
Good Lord.
That's right. Applebee's is back, Jeff.
I called so much BS on this. I'm like, no. Marianne, stop it. You do not care about Applebee's. No, there's not a single Canadian soul I know that's going to yell like that for Applebee's. Applebee's ain't no thing up here at all.
Well, we have Applebee's in Canada.
I know. That's why I said it. I didn't say that it doesn't exist.
Bring your mic closer.
Where it's close. Where is this Applebee's?
There's
we can do
Applebee's.
research. We can find out the closest location.
They have a few locations in Ontario for sure. Applebee's.
Where? Maybe where I can go enjoy an Applebee's pineapple burrito.
On Mavis, just below Britannia.
So in Milton or in Brampton?
No, in Heartland, which is
They got one in Niagara Falls. It's that would be probably the closest one to us. That's an hour away. But you know, every time I'm in the States, there are Applebee's up very plentiful, Jeff.
Yes,
but when you're in the States, you don't go to Applebee's.
No.
I remember like that time I went on that trip with Chris Seymour down to New Jersey, and you know, I was like, hey, like because we ended up going to like this place with Ming, where it was like, you know, like more gourmet burgers and like, you know, it's kind of more posher food. And Chris was like, why don't we go to Chili's? I know it's a different chain, but it's kind of the same in a lot of ways. He's like, I just wanted to go to Chili's, not have to buy these expensive burgers.
Answer to your question. There's one by Port Perry and Pickering. There's one in Innisfield. There's one in Niagara. And then there's one in Windsor. That is all of the Applebee's in Southern Ontario.
Okay, but we have it. It's not.
And where does Marianne live? Where does Marianne live?
She's in Ajax.
She's not going to no Applebee's.
She might go to Pickering. Pickering's not that far for her.
No one's driving to Applebee's, man, from Ajax.
Well, it's closer to Omar. He's in Whitby. Pickering is even closer.
No, they're not going. Who's going to Applebee's?
Nobody's
all choices.
Yeah, but they were
I
so
could live right next door to Applebee's, and I wouldn't go to Applebee's.
You got better options in Canada, like a Milestones, maybe a Milestones Brampton Highway.
They are not a sponsor of Survivor Season 42, so they get the plug.
I'm not questioning them as being a sponsor. I'm just talking about fake enthusiasm, and that was fake enthusiasm.
I think after 12 days of eating nothing but like what you could catch on a beach, I guess like anything sounds pretty amazing, you know.
No,
like
I disagree.
Even if it was like the worst, like not my favorite chain. If, Jeff, what would be the worst case scenario for you for a restaurant that they're going to come to you after 12 days of living on a beach with not much food?
The Taco Bell probably would be the worst case scenario because you would just choke it down and then it would be diarrhea.
That's a worst case scenario, but like food you would not be excited for. A restaurant you would not be too excited.
Like anything Mexican, Chipotle, like anything tacos.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like if after 12 days you would just inhale it, it wouldn't fill you up too much, and it would be diarrhea. You know,
my issue with that is a lot of taco Mexican dishes are rice based. And therefore, you already had rice. Why am I getting more rice? I don't want the rice. I want the meat.
Right.
That makes sense. It's big. It's like it's a General Chow's chicken or something like that, or something.
No,
like,
I wouldn't want Chinese food either.
No, not
'Cause
Chinese.
Chinese food would slug you down. Yeah, that would be tough.
Yeah.
And plus I wouldn't have something to drink immediately afterwards. Like I would be feeling it afterwards, and I would want to I'll be thirsty like crazy.
Mhm.
Right. So no, not that.
Yeah, but guys, okay, we got to talk about this episode. It was a 2-hour episode, right? There's a lot that happened here. We got the merge, the challenge. We can talk about the Applebee's, of course, of it all. But this is like same format as season 41. So we get this this pre-merge here. We see that Lydia is effectively voted out just before jury, right? So it's the cruelest of all votes, maybe. It's so close, but so
The
far.
odds were not in her favor.
Correct.
Can I say my headline from this episode, Dave? I feel like Roxroy is I'm cheering for him to win the game. I like this guy.
Yeah.
I really do like him. Like, I really think the show is trying to make me like him, but they're succeeding. I definitely feel like I hope he does well. The way he just described the world, like he didn't do it in that cheesy way, forced way. Like it was from him. And I actually really liked that. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jaemeel, yeah, his Roxroy at Exile Island, very different than when
Oh no, you already forgot.
I did not forget Erica. I'm sorry, Erica. Erica, our first Canadian winner, of course. But when Erica, now I think it was raining on Erica for some of those days, and it sounded like Roxroy basically was dry the whole time. So I'm sure that changes.
Yeah,
this.
Erica ain't building no shit.
Erica is just like, that's what Amanda said. We're watching the episode. Amanda goes like, "Wow, he's actually building a shelter," and she's like, Erica just sat there and suffered, and I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what she did. She sat there and suffered for 2 days straight." Where Roxroy's like, "You know what? I'm gonna get out of the shade. I'm gonna climb this mountain and look at the view." I loved everything about his Exile Island. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was a very different vibe. I thought with him.
I too am going for Roxroy. Roxroy and I share a similar plight. I have keratoconus as well as he, and so I know a little bit of what he's going through. Fortunate for him, it seems that he didn't have as a severe case as I do. He was able to do what is called cross-linking, which is the surgery to kind of stabilize his eyes. And therefore, that's why the surgery referred to wasn't like a transplant per se. So it is good to see representation, because representation matters for people to kind of understand what you're going through. So my heart goes out to Rox, and that he was able to kind of do his survivor dream. And so Rox is, I don't have a dog in this fight because it seems like I picked the worst choices for this this round. So I'm going for Rox
in the draft.
gee.
Who do you have left in the draft? You only have.
I have no one.
Oh, you're done.
Who had
Yeah, you're
Lydia?
done.
Who had Lydia tonight?
Amanda. So Amanda's gone too. Amanda and Jaemeel, who had the first and second pick and had 3 people each, they're all out. They're completely wiped out of this draft, Jeff.
And we'll talk about it. Lydia was a terrible choice to get voted out this. I think.
Yeah. But there's so much more before the.
I thought it was great. I was like happy to see Lydia go.
Actually, okay. Can we talk a little bit about the fact that the format of this merge episode now in Survivor, this is superior to what they've ever done before. This is actually fantastic. Do a 2-hour episode, make it a decision, but get on with it. Don't friggin' drag it out like they did last season because it was new. I get why they did it, but it was much better this time. I was like, other than the whole, I think we spent about 5 minutes of Jeff at the challenge explaining like, hey, this is what's going on.
Can you believe it? They didn't see last season, so they don't even know. They don't even like.
You complained about that last season, and thankfully they've only done it this one time. But soon, hopefully, we don't get it at all.
I love it. I love when Jeff's like, listen, I come in here. And then he's like, hold on, they're coming, guys.
He's
What's
such
actually
a goober.
happening is the producers are holding them back. And then when he finishes his spiel, then they're like, okay, you guys can go.
And cue.
But like Jeff's like, I'm the producer. I want them coming in over my shoulder. I want that visual image.
They didn't hear what I just said, guys. This is just between you and me, the audience.
I'm gonna talk to you directly. And like, I I enjoy the choice they make, but Jeff is such a goober that you can't help be like, come on, man. Like, yeah. So
it's kind of like when you go from Wichita, Kansas, Jeff, to Seattle, Washington. You reinvent yourself. You know, you make a whole new you.
You grow a mullet, you pretend it's 1991. And like
one day you could host Rock and Roll Jeopardy if you reinvent yourself.
Oh yeah, he definitely could. He could get him on Carmen Sandiego. I think his whole hairdo and everything about Jeff is like, at least he changes it up. At least he's not this like, and he seems to enjoy what he does. And like, why shouldn't you? He has a dream job. I mean,
it's a great gig. You gotta go with it. Yeah. Great episode tonight, or two episodes. It's technically two episodes that were just kind of mashed together is one thing. I agree that it was good to see all these different merge conversations. There was a lot more gameplay in this episode, a lot more strategizing, because they've been locked in these like pretty small tribes for 12 days and 5 episodes before this, and now it's all no swap. I'm glad that there's no swap, because I find the swap just ends up like usually like whoever the majority in that swap situation just votes out a minority player, like a minority of the.
It controls the game often. That twist, and I agree. I think let them play out like in a 3-person tribe, and just let them play it out, and then merge and just throw them all together. Because you saw tonight, there was no majority alliance. I think there was in the vote, but at the same time, I feel like that was like 2 alliances voting together in the vote.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think that I think Jonathan again is this spectacle of the season. That how can we not talk about this guy? The fact that when he I knew what this was going to be because we had seen last season. So I knew okay, I think his team's probably going to win this challenge. They're probably going to get the reward, and then they're probably going to get it taken away from them. And then if he doesn't win immunity, which he didn't, it ends up being Tori who wins at the individual immunity in this episode, that he would be vulnerable, but on the other hand, there's a lot of players like High and others that are like, well, if we keep Jonathan around, he's always gonna be a bigger target than me. And so why would I want to go with that trend? So I thought it was interesting.
It is the correct way to think, but especially if you're a big threat.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing there. And friggin' Jonathan, just what an average meal for him is.
Back home, my average meal is 18 eggs, 9 pieces of cheese, and grits.
18. Oh man, yeah. Amanda and I said
average meal.
Amanda and I said to I said to each other right before that he must eat 10,000 calories a day, easy. Yeah. He is probably just pounding the protein to be able to keep that physique, because that body needs to eat. It's was it Polly? These biceps don't feed themselves, right?
Yeah, a little bit of grits for fiber, and then
well, he probably gets a lot of grits.
I don't know. He didn't. He specifically said 18 eggs, and he said 8 pieces of cheese or something, and he didn't quantify the grits. So
I bet he wasn't going to be I put 4 cups of grits.
His poops must be epic. Oh my god! Yeah.
No, but he seems like a bidet type of dude.
I don't know.
Right. I think you need it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's big. It's Applebee's. Yeah. And just him okay. So he ends up tonight. And just let's talk about these 2 teams that we ended up with in the draw here, because
in the reward,
in the challenge, in the original challenge.
It was an amazing challenge, by the way.
So the blue team was Drea, Mike, Romeo, Omar, and Chanel. And then the orange team, Lydia, High, Marianne, and Tori, and Jonathan, of course.
And we had Roxroy and Lindsay in the middle.
Yeah. In the gray, in this we'll decide your fate. I think it's best case scenario is in this format, which they probably won't do it again because now it will have been seen twice. But the best case scenario is almost to be in the middle. You don't have to use any energy in this challenge. You might get immunity or might not. It's kind of like it was.
It's a choice between a meal though, Dave, and going to live by yourself for 2 days. That.
Again, that's crazy advantage though that Roxroy got, right? And
wasn't that crazy?
Well, not that much. Jeff really tried to sell it, and he kind of he hyped it up to the point where Tori and Jonathan admitted that they considered swapping out, giving up the food, and going to exile to get
Not
the power.
Jonathan, but like,
Well, Tori, wow. Oh my God. Could you come across worse in a matter of 20 seconds on a TV show? Like,
You mean at Applebee's?
no, her whole thing before the challenge where she was like, oh, Roxroy should have, not done this because, we helped him out, sending him. We could have taken his place, basically, it was a favor to go let him live by himself.
and he
for
would
2
have
days.
eaten. He would have ate. Like,
Yeah, like in no way did they do him a favor, by letting him go suffer and get you can't say that after the fact, like you come across like so entitled. You're basically like, I went and ate because I was doing him a favor where he would have to go sit on an island for 2 days to get some sort of twist in the game.
That
Basically,
might or might not be important, right?
He did not get an advantage. He got a twist. He got to decide a twist. He got to be a producer.
He got to be a producer. Okay, like ultimately, he makes the same decision here as Erica did last season. He chooses to break the hourglass and to first flip it. But I think it's an obvious choice. Like if you're the player in question, you didn't compete in that challenge, and you're like, well, you can be safe for the next vote after having spent 2 days on this island by yourself, or you can be vulnerable. Which one do you want to do? And like I think almost always you're going to pick to have that safety in the next vote.
if majority of your alliance is safe, then it becomes a lot easier because you can manage where you're attacking from.
But he knew that that was the other thing for him too. Like his two closest allies in Drea and Romeo were not safe, so it behooved him to give them safety as well.
Yeah, like everyone knew. Honestly, the way they were talking about it on the island, everyone knew that Rox is the type of dude he was going to do that.
Right. Yeah, like they tried to sell us like, well, maybe I don't want to piss off Jonathan or whoever was, I was going to take that power away from, but he knew that like that's better. So like it was an obvious choice. I would have been like shocked if he didn't use it in the situation.
Yep.
And
it was kind of the opposite of the Big Brother. We'll get to that next time.
But this whole I said this the first time we saw this, and it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you can't turn back time. Share because like, did you see Jonathan eat those 12 burgers at Applebee's? How are you gonna get those back?
You gave everyone
it's flipping the script.
Give everyone like an anaphylactic so they all puke.
Well, yeah, you're gonna like pump their stomachs like a day later. Like there's nothing. But all that like that reward part of it is still real and still very useful. Like because Jonathan was like, yeah, I considered it, but sense for him to like, I'm gonna load up on food. I'm twice as big as all these people, and he's been a beast in challenges. I kind of get like that's maybe his biggest strength, right? And weakness and vulnerability, right? And so it's I thought this was.
I think they should do this again, but instead of letting someone decide, just like whoever wins a challenge at a certain point like this, like a reward challenge, it then becomes an immunity challenge. Like this is actually smart to do where like basically if you win the challenge, they don't tell them before they go run the challenge, right? But if you win the challenge, you're up to be voted out, but you get to eat. But the people who lost are safe.
Yeah. And you can decide to flip it where you're safe and eat.
Right. And then
safe and not eat. And the other people can eat and thing. And if you're
vulnerable.
starving, you might choose to be like, please let me compete. I'd rather compete and eat because I'm dying.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I could see like that being viable for some players, like given the situation.
I think they should do like a season where they do a merge or something like that, where they always do these team competitions, and whoever loses is vulnerable. Whoever wins is vulnerable. So it's like, oh, I'm choosing food over safety, basically.
So it's like food comps.
Yeah, it's like food comps. Like they could do like a whole food comp season like that, where
you have nothing and you win to get something, but you're also putting yourself in a situation where you can get voted out.
Yeah.
But you can't sit out of like 3 consecutive challenges.
Like I think there's a seed here, guys, that is interesting that I think if they ever did a whole season like that they do in this twist, that is actually kind of fun. The team that won the reward had to, be voted out, and it would be, the people who suffered basically were safe, Rockstar included.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like okay, I'm just trying to think of where there was a lot that happened, and then I'm like, where do we go through?
Can we talk a little bit about Marianne?
Sure.
Let's
talk about Marianne.
Marianne is, Amanda called it. She's like, watch, she's gonna be friends with Tori. And when Tori won that immunity challenge tonight, I was like, girl, you are eligible to be voted out. Why are you so happy for Tori? And if you are, don't show it. Like, what?
Oh, Lord.
What is she doing? Yeah. And then like everything with her tonight was she's always on 13. It's like not even 11. She's on a 13. And
like, even during the challenge where Jonathan gives actually good advice, it's like, hey, well, one of you is working on the puzzle, why don't you all flip over the pieces so you can kind of see it. She gives some sassy reply back.
Oh my god. And
I'm like, what?
Yeah, and
Jonathan's then I carried you through this competition for you to get this lead. Like, don't you dare lose it.
And then she says later, Jaemeel, oh, how hard I've worked to get here in the game. And it's just like, girl, you have not worked that hard.
It's like Jonathan's been carrying you on his back, figuratively or actually, not literally. But
he pushed a giant ball basically by himself with a bit of High's help.
High was contributing there, but yeah, the other and I think Tori a little bit, like she at least got up on the boulder and she was trying to.
She's definitely athletic, but as far as pushing the ball, it was all Jonathan
pushing everyone up.
He was like Atlas holding up the world, at one point, right? And then they had such a lead on that puzzle tonight, right? And like, was it Marianne and Lydia were the two on the puzzle for Orange?
Yes, yeah. And they both, really, especially Marianne. No, it was only Marianne. Was throwing some sass, Dave, at Jonathan.
Jonathan was like, I think a little worried that he wasn't gonna get his Applebee's, like that they were gonna blow this lead, right?
I think he was worried about being the proverbial merge boot, which he was still eligible to be out of only about 5 people.
Yeah, he could still went here, and like Romeo was pushing hard tonight for him to go, and I kind of get it, like why Romeo would want that.
Romeo can't see how things shift, and he can't control the people. He can only really influence one other person. You saw
like Drea only, right?
Yeah, but Drea didn't vote together
tonight. Yeah, that's interesting. So are they drifting now? Is Drea seems like Drea is maybe finding new allies post merge or a new power.
I think she's kind of with High. She joined up with High and Lydia
and Jonathan, I think.
But the thing is, she voted Lydia out tonight. Why did she do that? Because your boy Dave Omar kind of controlled the vote tonight.
Omar was great. Omar was MVP tonight. I thought, assuming he got his way, which he did.
He wasn't even able to vote, and he influenced about 8 people to vote Lydia out for really no fault of Lydia's.
No reason, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like she was the one left.
It made sense for Omar. He really stuck his neck out here. That was almost kind of unnecessary, but he got what it was smart, because if Jonathan or Marianne go home here, that's one of his 4. And I think he's playing he wants to be a 4 tight alliance with, and I think they are tight. If they ever come together at a final 9 or whatever it is, the 4 of them will be tight.
You think Jonathan's going to stay?
Yes. I think they might bring Mike into their 4.
I think Mike and Rox, they're gonna.
I thought Rox would definitely bond with them, but Rox was away. We didn't get to see a lot of the Mike, Jonathan. If Rox was with them, I think you're right. They are all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dave?
Well, go ahead.
I agree. I almost get upset though with players like Romeo tonight, because his reaction to the fact that Jonathan Mike likes Jonathan is kind of I think petty and sort of even prejudice. Like it's like he's like, well, I because I'm gay and these guys are straight guys, then I can never get in with them or something, or I can never work with them. And I think it's
which is nonsensical to me, honestly.
Yeah.
The way that, especially you see Mike and how he connects with people.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, no, you're absolutely wrong on that.
Well, no, I think Dave is on to something though, that I feel like Romeo doesn't know how to connect with Mike. Not that Mike wouldn't connect back with him. I think he absolutely would, because I think Mike's a really open guy and really wants to hear your story. And if you're, straight up and loyal to him, he's gonna love you. He showed that on his original Tribe. Whereas, like, I think Romeo wants to play a very cutthroat, backstabby game, and to get on his vibe with Mike, I think is almost impossible for somebody like Romeo.
Well, I think that's Romeo's hang up. It's like it's not really it's an obstacle he chooses to put in his mind,
right? But it's because of the way he wants to play the game, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, because he saw him like he's going up to Tori. He's like, "Oh, come on, Tori, let's work together here and like get out Jonathan or whatever," right?
Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah, well, I mean, all right. There were 4 different names written down, right, on the vote.
Yes, Marianne, Jonathan.
We had Marianne, Jonathan, Lydia, who went home, and who was the other vote?
Lindsay got a vote.
Lindsay got a vote. Yeah, so there were
who voted for Lindsay?
Yeah, that I didn't see because I saw like the Jonathan votes were Tori and Chanel.
Roxroy voted for Lindsay.
Okay, well, so Roxroy was totally out of the loop. He had no idea what was going on,
I guess. Or that was like a backup vote? Because, here's who voted for Lydia. It was Drea, Hi, Jonathan, Lindsay, Marianne, and Mike.
So, wait, so Lindsay, Jonathan, and Marianne, did they all vote together?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so those 3 voted together with who were the other votes on?
Mike, Hi. Hi is the surprising one. He votes for Lydia.
Why? Yeah. I noticed that when it came up, I was like, why did Hi vote Lydia? Because did he vote with Drea? Did Drea vote? Right.
Yes.
So I feel like Hi and Drea are going to be a pair that are like, tight. You're gonna have Mike and Jonathan as kind of this tight pair, but then I think there's gonna be a 4, that the orange 4, but Marianne can be axed, and then you bring in Mike. Yeah, that's what kind of how I see that alliance working. Whereas like you have Drea, Hi, and then they're gonna probably bring in Tori and
because you think it's Mike, Marianne, and Drea are the 3 idol holders.
Right, and that was interesting that somebody in that 3 didn't get voted out tonight. They didn't go after each other. Really,
or the rest of the 9 didn't say let's get one of these 3 out,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, did they all know? They all know about their.
I think so.
The idols, not the super
not the amulets.
The amulets, no.
Right, the amulets are less known. It seems only the 3 that have the amulets know about the amulets.
So it's Lindsay, Hi, and Drea, right? And so those 3 with the amulet, didn't at all go after each other.
But they did vote together tonight.
Right, they voted together. Like Hi and Lindsay are both eligible for the amulet to be tonight. Hi and Lindsay were both vulnerable. Who are the idols? It's Mike, Drea, and Marianne. Marianne was also could have blindsided her, and she didn't play her idol.
Oh my gosh!
But Omar is like, we haven't Marianne has an idol. I'm close to Marianne. I can use that. Why would I want to just vote out Marianne with an idol in her pocket? It doesn't.
Why? All right, we need to talk about this. Why was Lydia chosen over Marianne? Was it just the fact they didn't want to split their vote, and Marianne had an idol? They knew she had an idol, so it could have been played, and then they didn't want some sort of like 2 vote or 1 vote, like Roxroy deciding Lindsay goes home. You know what I mean? Is that what happened?
I think it was just Omar in particular was able to get what he wanted here. And I think it's better to keep Marianne than to keep Lydia for him. Like he just meant
right. Lydia, but why did yes, for Omar, he didn't have a vote. You know what I mean? Like was it better for Drea and Hi specifically to get rid of Lydia over trying to vote at Marianne or Jonathan or whatever they could have.
Maybe it was a compromise.
Yeah, it must have been a compromise. Like, you don't go after me with the amulet, and I won't go after you, and we'll kind of keep each other safe until we get some of these people that don't have power out. Type thing.
Well, how did ultimately up until very recently, Hai and Mike were very loyal to Lydia, right? You know, and here they basically they sell her out. They choose to vote her out here.
Right. Well, all right. That's an even better question. Why did Hai and Mike vote out Lydia tonight? Why did they?
Probably.
Because Mike fell in love with Jonathan, and Hai is kind of with Drea, and Drea decided this was the way to go.
I love it.
He's like, I don't need Lydia anymore. I have Drea now.
Right.
Jonathan.
I think he did a little bit. Like he was like, remember he said tonight, I'll take a bullet for Lydia and Hai, and then he's like, I'll vote Lydia out later on. He
votes Lydia out. The bullet. He shot the bullet at Lydia here because the people who are not in the vote here is Romeo, Tori, and Roxroy and Chanel. Like they're the ones they're the ones who are on the wrong side of this vote tonight.
I think, yeah, and it's interesting that Marianne and Tori didn't vote together because those two were becoming best of friends.
But I think that's part of Marianne being just a wild card
in Marianne's mind. Yeah, yes. Marianne is absolutely a wild card,
which is why I wouldn't want to keep her around.
Yeah,
like even though you think you have control over her, that's just because she's had their choices, and she wasn't able to maneuver or didn't have people talking in her. Who's talking to her? Right?
I think
Jonathan's not going to talk to her, right?
No,
the other two, like, there's no one talking in her ear. So you thinking that you can control her now when there's so many people still in the game, and you see how erratic she is?
Yeah,
I think that was a bad judgment call.
I think she gets blindsided, guys. Here, if Omar doesn't steer the vote, I think it was gonna not even be Jonathan. It was going to be Marianne, and they were going to.
Marianne would have been voted out with the idol in her pocket.
And then they all kind of came together and said, "Let's just vote Lydia out because then we don't have to worry about like a big idol moment where Marianne. We especially don't want to make Marianne look good, And if she feels the votes are definitely coming toward her, she's going to play it. And then like one of us goes home and screw that.
Right. I think if they had their druthers tonight, they would have voted out either Chanel, Tori, or maybe Marianne. I think was also a consideration, right? But each blue, green, and orange all kind of indicated, okay, these are the three people on the bottom for us, right? And like in the case of the green tribe, it's Chanel, and in the case of the blue tribe, it was Tori. But they both end up safe, right? And poor Chanel, could you not feel for her in this episode? Because she's like, I'm going around and like people are stopping conversations when I walk up and everyone's talking about how no one can trust her. And she's like, I don't trust anybody. And I was like, it really doesn't matter if you trust anybody, Chanel. No one trusts you. That's pretty obvious here, right? So
I could see Chanel and Roxroy connecting because they're both kind of like on the bottom. Nobody really wants to work with them, but they're kind of misunderstood. I think in some ways, I do think both of those players could definitely connect.
Yeah, maybe it'd be interesting to see if Chanel can get back any agency in this game because she seems like the way that Hai and Lydia have like sort of and Mike
they buried her.
They were like, do not trust her. And like we saw at the beginning of this episode tonight, where they're coming off the vote of Daniel, right? Where we saw like that vote that Chanel had put on Mike. And she explains it like in case Daniel played the shot in the dark, there would have been a vote on Mike. But I don't think it would have mattered, right? It wouldn't have caused a tie, right? Chanel still would have been voted out if that had happened. So
if Mike had his vote.
Right. So it was a bad move by Chanel. It's clearly a bad move because like, and especially to do it to a player like Mike, who's going to definitely hold a grudge over it.
Especially when they knew, but that like 2 votes ago, like Mike couldn't vote, and then they still voted that way with the Jenny thing, and then it switched over, and then she voted the Mike vote, and that was kind of the whole argument at the beginning of this episode. Everything with Chanel and Mike has just been not working. As an alliance, they can't even think through the vote as what was going to happen, even when they had the information, which is even worse.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, the Green Tribe they had to collapse tonight, right? Because as a unit, they're dismantled now, right? Like Lydia's out. Hai is now working, and Hai and Mike are now on this other alliance, and Chanel is left to the wind, right? And so like now blue and orange, respectively, have numbers, but blue has Tori, and Tori I think is even less trustworthy than like Marianne. Okay, a bit of an erratic player personality, sure. But I think ultimately you can work with Marianne if you keep her close. I think players like Lindsay and Omar can keep her sort of in line for a little while. But Tori's here to make a scene. Tori's here to have big, huge friggin' moments and be remembered and whatever. And so like, yeah, like just that we saw in the episode before the merge, Tori going up to Roxroy. What happened there on Exile Island or on Summit Island? What happened? She's like almost putting him under the lights. You know,
she's interrogating him for sure.
Interrogated him, and like Dre and Romeo are like, she is crazy. We need to get rid of her.
Well, she wouldn't stop, Dave. Like she literally asked him over and over and over and over, and he's like, "Look, I don't need to tell you." And he's like, "I'll be respectful. I'll talk to you. We want to have a conversation. We'll talk, but I don't need to tell you what happened." And even if he's like, "I already did tell you what happened," and like, take it for what it is. Like, you can't be that persistent. And they even say, "Damn, she's persistent in the episode" or something. Right, so it's like her, Marianne, and what was the other one who was on the outs?
Chanel.
Oh yeah, Chanel has the best chance of like blending back in or like finding
rebounding from this.
Right, I do feel like that could be Roxroy. Whereas the other two, Tori and Marianne, are at some point going to piss somebody off. And the thing is, with Marianne, she has all those advantages. She has an idol and an extra vote, I believe, right? Or just an idol.
Yeah. Well, she has just the. Does she have an extra vote too?
I think she might have both. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, she might. Like, there's so many friggin' advantages, extra votes. I had forgotten that Omar had lost his vote.
Yeah,
like that was so long ago that it
comes back finally.
Yeah, finally, like that because he hadn't been to tribal council in so long. Right? Who was the last person Orange voted out? It was Mariah. Remember Mariah? Yeah. She was voted out day 5.
I remember Mariah. Why?
I remember
I had her in the draft.
You drafted her.
You and Amanda.
She did not do good. The Orange Tribe was basically always going to be this 4 in the story. It was going to be Jonathan, Marianne, Lindsay, and Omar. That was always going to be the Orange Tribe.
They should have kept Mariah.
And then what was it Jackson? I mean,
Jackson got better play back. Just here.
That was.
Bring up the visual just of our draft order here. Yeah, and so you can see here, Jackson taken first overall by Jaemeel. That didn't work out. And then you can see
Roxroy, man, he went the pick right after me. Good pick by Daryl.
Yeah. I'm liking my Omar pick at number 3. He tonight he especially earned his place for me. I think he's a pretty good player. And I think I think he connects well with people. I think he seems to people trust him too. It's interesting to see all the merge people are kind of in the middle of this draft order because it was basically Jaemeel and Amanda.
It's pretty crazy that 1/6 of this cast lives in Canada. That's pretty
1/6, yeah.
1/6, yeah.
Yeah, and that hasn't been discussed at all between Omar and Marianne, who are from very close places. Now, I don't know. I guess you could say, well, I don't know, Mike's from Hoboken, and
the ones from Long Island.
Somebody from Long Island. It's not the same thing.
There's 10 million people in between those two places.
Sure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there's. I would imagine that that's more of a bond, but who's to say? And then the Drea from Montreal, even though she's an American transplant. I wonder if that's a thing. Okay, we have 3 Canadians here. We have all these amulets and advantages and whatever, and we can just we're Drea was saying, I'm Survivor rich, bitch.
Yep.
She could get whatever. You see in the preview too. She was like, Romeo is paranoid like a bitch.
Right. She's awesome. I actually really love her on the show because she's especially tonight when she owned Marianne in that tribal council. That was glorious. I would loved it so much.
Yeah. Oh, was that put on? Was that put on?
I don't think so. I don't think it was a job, but or work. But what it was to me was hilarious.
Yeah,
she's
honestly, Marianne does not understand.
Okay, so what was so that whole conversation between Marianne and Drea, because she's like, because Jeff's like, Marianne, what's this vote about tonight? She's like, I think it's about two things. It's about who you want to work with and also who you want to work with long term. I'm like, that's the same fucking thing, Marianne. Like, you just said this here, like, it's two things, which is really one thing. And then, and Drea's very quick to disagree. She's like, no, I don't think that's what this vote's about tonight. And
Do you mean it was like put on because Drea was trying to like not show that her and Marianne were actually voting together, and it was like
and that they're going to be working together long term? I think
don't think so.
Or is that more that Drea's annoyed that Marianne said that? And then when they get and how are you going to explain the vote after the fact? And they're going to say, well, clearly, because Drea's gonna have to say to Romeo, I didn't vote with you tonight, and he'll say, well, was Marianne said right that you're going to be working with her long term and not me? And she'll be like, no, what Marianne said was not
right.
Yes, I voted with Marianne tonight, but that's
right.
not what this is. What this is.
That's so true. That's exactly what she was pissed off about. And Marianne was too dumb to be like, that we're sort of saying the same thing, right? Like,
and we sort of agreed. And she's like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
Yeah. She does not have, like, we saw it last time Marianne was in tribal. Like, she does not have good tribal instincts. And the fact that she has two advantages is interesting because I want to see how she plays them.
So it needs to be Chanel and Marianne that get into a conflict at the tribal council and just see them argue against each other. It's a shame Daniel didn't make it to see them kind of go back and forth.
Oh man, like if there had been a fight with Daniel and Marianne, that would have been explosive. Or Daniel and Tori, that would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah, like Daniel there instead of Chanel would have been a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get why they cut Daniel over Chanel, like because I think Chanel is easier to insulate, whereas Daniel would just go around talking in everyone's ear and would eventually wear some people down. I think Chanel was a little bit more defeated tonight, right? Chanel was a little like she was wandering in the wilderness. Who did she vote for in this? She votes for Jonathan tonight
with Tori.
Along with Tori.
And Tori was funny tonight. Like, oh, I actually just think, if you're here, I have a worse chance of winning these challenges. Like Tori's gonna run the table on the challenges.
Like Tori's like, yeah, she was kind of like trying to play like this honest game. Like, hey, Jonathan, I'm going to vote you out tonight, and I hope everyone else does too.
Right. She was very upfront, and so was Romeo in a lot of ways. That's why those two voted together.
Yeah.
No, Chanel voted. What did Romeo?
No, you're right. Romeo votes for Marianne, actually.
Marianne. Yeah, that was what was weird. Why did Romeo and Tori not vote together?
Yeah,
splitting maybe. Maybe they thought they were.
But like, how can they not feel betrayed by Drea, right? Isn't the Blue Tribe and Roxroy for that matter? Roxroy doesn't like. So Drea's the only one from the Blue Tribe that doesn't vote with the other three, but they all vote for somebody different. Tori votes for Jonathan, Romeo votes for Marianne, and Roxroy votes for Lindsay.
Talk about a tribe that literally had no alliance. Because how could they have? They didn't vote together. Unless they didn't vote together.
They all voted for an orange, like a former Otaku player, but not the same one.
Right. Lindsay, Marianne, Jonathan, and then Omar couldn't be voted for, so he was safe. But.
Right, but it was almost like they forgot that, like, the votes have to add up. Right. Right. It was still at least it would have been 3 votes together here. Yeah. Or if they'd all played on Jonathan. Now I know this. I always think that the shot in the dark is throwing, like, maybe he's causing some of these weird votes we're seeing. Like this paranoia. Well, if somebody plays their shot in the dark and it's a 1 in 6 chance. Every time we've seen it played so far, it's never happened. It's never given safety.
I have a question. I don't know if you guys know. If you play your shot in the dark and you don't get voted out, do you come back next time? You still have a shot in the dark?
No, I think it's a 1 and done.
Yeah,
it's a 1 and done. Okay.
Yeah, it's for like your dead man.
I never heard it being used again, like, or attempted. It was like, this is your one shot to kind of get past that.
Do you think you should be I think it's a 1 in 6, right? Like, just give somebody a dice, give them a craps table, you throw the dice, and if it lands on a hard 6, then you're safe. No?
They want the unscrolling of the
official unscrolling, and it goes not safe.
Not safe.
It's not great.
We still have the what's it called again? The choice later on. You know the twist they had last season with the picking the right box.
Yes, I'm sort of remembering.
Yeah.
Like, why?
So I think that their worries about Jonathan beasting through a lot of the challenges is unfounded, honestly.
Mhm.
And you see with challenges like tonight, when it comes to the individual game, it isn't just ones that you can just muscle through. There's coordination that's involved, right? And
Yeah.
especially when they start doing the you have to keep the thing going, the ring or the ball or whatever.
Right.
Like,
oh, we catch the balls through like the trap thing.
Yeah. You can be the strongest person in the world, but if you do not have that mental acumen, you're done.
Marianne almost won this tonight. Marianne could have beat Jonathan in this, right? So like, she's not a physically imposing person whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you know, so
I mean, I think you give Jonathan a couple tries at that, he gets good enough where he just smokes them. You know what I mean? But anytime you do it first, you know, you got to learn it, and it's whoever kind of has the best center of gravity, and you know all those.
I think being lower to the ground, the shorter you are, is probably better for that. That challenge, right?
Yeah. But there's no way he's going to be able to run the table from the beginning of a merge.
Nope, that's true. And even if he did, I just don't think he has the social game to get the votes. You know, either.
Mike at least had like idols that he had. Mike Holloway, I believe.
Right. When he ran the table, like in the final 6 or whatever it was, final 7.
And he also had, what's his name? The dude with the bigger dude with the stupid hat that was such a dolt. He was a Cardi, whatever. I hate that dude. I can't even remember his
Me
dude.
too. Yeah, he's the worst.
I'm going to say his name, and you're going to be like, yeah, I hate that dude.
I'm sure I will. Yeah, like it's this. I was glad that I find myself rooting for Jonathan, even though I don't have him in the draft. Like, you know, like I find him. I want him to stick around because he seems like a good dude.
Yeah,
you know. I liked the whole chat with him and Mike on the beach tonight, where they were like, he was like, everyone thinks I'm dumb, you know, but I'm not dumb. Well, even though Lindsay says he sucks at puzzles, and I think that's maybe fair, but you know, he's good at so many other things, and he seems like deep down he's just a good guy. He means well. You know, his dad made him run up the mountain over and over again and eat 18 eggs
turn him into a superhero.
And turn into a superhero. They even say that tonight. He's like a superhero. I'm like, he is like a superhero.
Dude is like Thor. It's like, jeez.
Yeah, like he's very likable. You know, even when he's like had these moments where, you know, he's held his patience with Marianne, which I don't think a lot of us could do. On, you know, when you're that hungry and you're being rained on, and it's, you know, bugs are biting you.
Oh yeah, no, he has definitely had a challenge. You know. Yeah. He has, especially like the amount of food he eats and the amount of food he needs to keep that body going.
Dave,
I would.
Sorry, I just found the name.
Oh, the guy we hate,
Dan Foley.
He was on like the Blue Collar Tribe, right?
Yes,
the Postman.
Yeah, I didn't like that guy.
Exactly. Exactly. He's the one who had the advantage, and the advantage ended up doing nothing.
Right. He's like, I'm adopted and it's the worst, or whatever.
It was something though along those lines. Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay, man.
I think he was from Maine or something.
Yeah.
I just had it. Just had it up. But yeah, I hated him.
No good.
Go ahead, Maine. Exactly, Maine. You were correct.
And then he said some nasty stuff about Rodney's mother or something like that.
Yeah.
And got in trouble.
That was the same season with Sharon and Mike Holloway defended her. Like, Jonathan is a Mike Holloway type of individual, but this isn't the dumb tribe that Mike was going against, where they were just basically putties that Mike just steamrolled through, right? There's a lot of intelligent, I think, capable individuals that can win a challenge. That can definitely win a challenge.
Yeah,
for sure.
But also, Jonathan doesn't have the charisma, I think. He does and he doesn't. Like, he doesn't have kind of what Mike was able to do in that season. And then eventually he was he was the pariah. Like he had to go on a streak
Yeah.
and win everything. But like I think that's going to happen here too with him. But at the same time, like the fact he didn't get voted out tonight was actually kind of remarkable when you think about it. He is the classic merge boot.
Well, but you think, like, yeah, like if you're high, I think I understand, like, keep the shield, right? But you can only play with that fire for so long because, you know, if he wins out, if they let him get to the end, he's almost certainly going to win.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
He's
think
not
really playing Survivor. Go ahead.
I don't think people. I think if it's at the end, if it's just two people, and it's Jonathan versus Mike wins.
Yeah, it won't be. I highly doubt it's gonna be two though, because
I know, but I'm just saying that in comparison, if we have, let's say it's a throwaway person, it's Mike, Jonathan, and
Marianne,
Tori, right?
Okay, Tori,
right? 3 people. I think Mike wins. Mike is building relationships with these individuals and having these conversations, and is being a straightforward dude. He's voting people. He's going against and voting out people, but at the same time, the way he's doing it, he's at the center of things. I think he's being involved, where Jonathan is just a force of nature.
Yeah,
which doesn't necessarily means people are going to feel motivated to reward you to win.
Not necessarily. I just think that, like, I think he would be a very likely winner because he's liked. People would respect giving him the win.
Really?
I think.
You think?
Yeah, I do. I think that, like, we see it all the time. Like, why did Mike Holloway win? It was for the same kind of thing, right? Like, you can earn the respect.
Mike earned the respect because he was from a very huge disadvantage and won through. Jonathan, like, all of his advantages are front and center, right? How is he getting to the end? I don't think it's by winning. I think it's going to be working with people, right? And the people that he's going to work with are going to be like Hai and Mike and Roxroy. And I think they're going to be the ones who take him versus the other way around and protect him.
I can't imagine he gets to the end and he's sitting next to Hai and he loses. Like, I don't think it's going to happen.
I think during the question and answer sessions, he's just not going to be able to have the answers that Mike would have, or Hai would have, or Rox would have.
I think like him and Mike in the end is an interesting final two. Like that, I could see Mike potentially winning over this jury, but I think that just like, because what Jonathan's accomplished, I think that how ingrained he will be in their memories forever. Just like just from watching him on TV, but to watch him like tonight push that boulder and do the things he's been doing.
I think you're just getting wowed by these spectacles and not.
I'm wowed. I think they're wowed.
I think they're wowed, but I don't think they're going to reward them at the end. They'll say, "Congratulations, you got second place."
I think that's how you would vote, Jaemeel. Like, you'd be like,
And
"Sorry,
I
Jonathan, you could do all this amazing challenge stuff, but you didn't play enough."
I'm just saying, Jonathan has to show me more, right?
Yeah.
Than what he personally currently has given, right? And I think there's more of me on the island than there are more of people who would just respect the physical game.
Yes, it's complicated because I don't think Jonathan is a pure physical game. I think he does have. I think he's a decent social player. I think he's well liked enough, and he's obviously making connections, and he's able to survive. Yeah, right. I think the fact that he did survive this vote tonight when he's an obvious target, like, for especially if you're not in the Orange Tribe, if you're not with the Taku. They don't know him. He's just been like this guy who's been kicking their ass in reward challenges for like 2 weeks. And like, well, why would we want to keep him around?
Do you think he's going to get the credit for tonight's survival?
That the fact that he didn't get voted out tonight? No, he won't get credit. Omar will get credit, but Omar is also willing to save Jonathan, and that has to be a little bit on credit to given to Jonathan for that.
Omar's not making it to the end, so he's going to tell his story in Ponderosa, and
Omar is getting to the end. He's winning.
Omar's not getting to Jeff. Omar's not getting to the end.
I think he will get to like final 8.
There you go. Thank you.
He's going to be the first virgin to win Survivor. It's gonna happen. Second Canadian as well. Do that.
I don't see the path for him, and that's not necessarily saying that I'm wishing him poorly. I just, with the personalities at play.
Yeah,
Sorry, Omar.
I would love to see Omar win. I think Omar is a great Chanel. I don't know if I want to see her win. I would love to see a comeback. I would love to see like a great comeback from Chanel. Drea, I think Drea is very impressive. I think Drea is sort of like, I think it would be a respectable winner, not necessarily a flashy one or one that we would go, wow.
I was kind of up and down. I'm like, is she even going to make it through this challenge? Because she was dead.
Oh yeah, the whole thing where Mike was like doing his like, I'm going to create a human ladder, and you're going to grab onto my feet, and then she was like, I thought she was like going to like get injured or evacuated.
That's what I was saying. Or like she looked dead. Like the next thing Mike was going to have to do was cut a slit in his stomach. Have her jump in like a kangaroo pouch and him climb her up, because he practically did everything he could.
Yeah, he was trying everything, and like Drea seems pretty physically capable. I think strategically, like just choosing for her to go up last was the wrong call, because this wasn't climbing the wall wasn't her strength. So she should have probably gone up first. The fact that the other team had Jonathan, and he was like, you saw, he literally like picked all four of them up, and then
he could have just done like this and just shot putted them over.
Shot put Marianne, shot put Tori, get them all up there, and then like he just kind of like did a leap, like it was almost like when Spider-Man like jumps over like the school fence in Far From Home or whatever.
That's the next superhuman feat. He just scales an entire challenge in one bound. They're like, are you just getting stronger? It's like, I don't know my own strength, Jeff.
Just talk about these other two. We talked a lot about Mike and Jonathan and their potentials to win, so I'll skip them. Lindsay is this other one that I think is like a dark horse in this game. She could win this game. Like, why not Lindsay? Jeff, what do you think?
She could, she's not on the show an awful lot right now, but I think if you give her a few episodes to maneuver, I think she definitely can make a big enough move to put her front and center. But right now, I feel like she's kind of just like, she's the girl that's with Omar and Jonathan, and more Omar even, because I feel like Omar, we have Omar, Drea, and Hai. They're kind of like the strategic narrative voices, I would say. And then Marianne comes in, and you're like, oh, Marianne, that's cute. You think you're running this game.
Yeah, you're not. But they use her vote, and I think they know they can kind of get her they can point her in the right direction.
Weaponize her.
Well, that's what Omar's doing with her for sure. And Omar's in that strategic group.
We have to also be very careful, because we learned last year about them not really putting forth the actual narrative and presenting us a different narrative than what is the final outcome.
Actually happening.
Like Erica, who saw that coming, even when she smashed Hourglass. It was
at that point it seemed like she was down and out. Like she's not gonna win. She's like, everyone wanted to vote her out, right? Like going into that merge, she was like the easy target. She goes on to win it. Why not somebody like Chanel similarly, to have something like that? There's a lot of game left to go here.
Yeah, there is.
Like how many? So they're day 14, right? Or day 13, I guess.
Yeah, so it'd be 28 days.
26. So they're halfway through.
Yeah, jeez.
At this point, and then
only day 13.
Yeah,
because it's faster.
I know, but
14. It's day 14. When Liddy gets voted.
I can imagine old Survivor players just being like, "In my day, this was we're at day 20 something at this point. We're way hungrier."
But at the same time, they had food, and the issue that they had was boredom.
Right. Too much time. Like I like this format. I like the faster game. I like that they're hungrier. I like that there's more scrambling. I think that this is a better version. I think this cast is better than the cast we had in 41.
Yeah.
Overall, I think that the sum of the parts here is better, and what we're seeing.
There was a lot of shovels.
Yeah, I don't know, and Shan and Rickard and all of that energy, and it was more. similarly to the season, you're seeing like sort of like this stronger majority alliance kind of loosely form and trying to run it. Like Dan or like what's his name? Jonathan's like, we formed an alliance of 8. I'm like, what, out of 11? Your alliance is 8 out of 11? That's your alliance?
It was 12, wasn't it?
Well, there's 12. Yes, but like going into the merge, there's only gonna be 11 people. It like, and he's like, we're gonna control 8 of them. 8. Like it's more than half. It seems excessive.
You should say we're a voting block. We're gonna vote together in these first couple of, immunities, and of course, you'll change your decision after the first one to whatever best suits you, and you can kind of make a final strong group.
Well, yeah, if you're in a 4-person alliance like Jonathan and the Orange Tribe is, you'd want to find 8 or at least an 8-person alliance. That way you can get to 8, and then you try and sway it.
It seems too big, like when the numbers are this low. When you're only 11 players or 12 players left in the game, like I guess like it's 2/3, right? So the obvious 8 would be like orange and blue or orange and green versus blue or something, but that's not what happens. They're just like, no, it's kind of like majority alliance people against the minority pariah people that were brought along into the merge.
Aren't you also, when Height says that he would willing to go to rocks, that has to worry you about how you're setting up your votes. So if it looks like it's going to be a tie, you got to make sure that it swings in your direction, because you, right, don't want to go to rocks no matter what. And someone saying that they're willing to do that should worry you.
Do you think that's what killed Lydia's game here? The fact that Hyde told them about that, or like maybe they wouldn't be able to keep that information from getting out. But the fact that they said, like Hyde said, I was willing to go to rocks for Lydia. And they're like, then we are getting the hell rid of Lydia right now if we're going to be working with you, because
he votes her out?
He votes her out. I think maybe he almost regretted telling them, and
that might happen
this as almost like a form of atonement.
Because you want him to be loyal to you first and foremost, not.
Right. And this would be an ultimate gesture. Like, hey, I'm voting out my closest ally to work with you guys.
Yeah. I told you I would do it. I voted for her. I'm showing my loyalty.
Right. To Drea. Like, and so, they got to say something to Drea. The Drea that I think, because ultimately I think High chooses to do this for Drea. Maybe for Jonathan, but I doubt it. It seems like that would be the one to woo her over, where she's like, see you later, Romeo. Sayonara. Yeah. Let's talk about more. Actually, what do you guys think tonight? Like of Romeo and High, they were having like they were kind of bonding, and like Romeo's like, we're both gay, but like Romeo comes from South Central LA, right, or East LA or something like that, where it originally roots in El Salvador, which is pretty conservative, and he's like definitely not okay. But most of my and whereas like High, very out, very open, doesn't care about that, lives a very more of an open life. And just seeing those, because they kind of like physically they kind of have like some, like they're similarly built and whatever, but very different too, you know.
Romeo's probably lived his life with a lot of code switching, which is, obviously been very difficult for him because he hasn't been able to really kind of, find his true self. It's always been like a version of himself, like a presentable version to his family, and then dipping his toe into his community and trying to find exactly, where he fits. Whereas Hyde's like been a singular type of person where he's able to develop that personality and be, you can just tell in terms of their confidence, right? The way they hold themselves and present themselves to people. It's very difficult for some folks in Romeo's case.
And it probably has a lot to do with where he comes from, his family upbringing, religious factors, these type of things are tough for gay people. And I think, for him to see, like I'll be on a show and like bond with somebody that's like him, I think is good. And also kind of like, oh, it's like in your face. It's like, oh, man, I want to be that, but I can't be. So it was a cool segment.
It was an interesting moment. Yeah, like because normally we've been talking about like we don't like these backstories. We don't like sort of like this is where I came from. But I think for you tonight, Jaemeel, like the whole segment with Roxroy, you could connect with that definitely because he had like the condition with the eyes.
I didn't get any. They didn't show any of the flashback photos or anything like that. Just the people talking. That's good enough. You can get everything that you need if you get a good confessional.
Yep.
Right. Other times it just seems forced. This felt real. It felt real.
Yeah, that's what I've actually been very impressed with so far is how real the people are. Like, remember we said at the beginning of the season, wow, this doesn't look like a bunch of actors. This actually looks like real people. And I think that's what's actually, this has been one of my favorite seasons because the people are so actually not fake. There's like a couple of them and they really stand out, don't they? Marianne and Tori.
You think Marianne's a fake?
I'm not saying she's being not genuine, but she's such a tryhard. Like, she is trying so hard to be on this show and be a big personality and be remembered, and so is Tori, and it is nauseating. I mean, because when you get somebody like Lindsay or Roxroy or High, and you actually like, oh, they're not pretending to be like, eccentric, and they're just being themselves and they're being vulnerable. I'm like, oh, I actually really like these people. I want Roxroy to win or whoever. Marianne and Tori are like, vote these people out now, please.
I know people like Marianne, and it's frustrating.
Marianne reminds me of my ex a lot. You know which one.
They're both from like something on the west side of east side of Toronto.
It's an east Toronto.
Something in the water over there.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, like I think with Marianne, it's also like you can tell like Jeff finds her charming and he like encourages it. He's like, "Oh, tell me, Marianne," and she was like, "What's your question again?" And so it's like it's almost like that's encouraging her to be even more Marianne than she already is, right? So
Probst loves like a good eccentric character, because at heart he is a giant kid. Yeah. And so when he connects with Marianne, he's like, "Oh man, this person's on my level,"
He's like, "I don't have to talk for a good minute. Go."
Yeah. But it's the energy. Like Probst loves like talking to the camera and hamming it up and being a goober, and like Marianne's like such a childlike personality that I think like they're natural, kind of like Mike and Jonathan were tonight. You're like, those people are cut from the same cloth. Yeah. Jonathan and Marianne and Jeff are cut from the same cloth.
Right. Yeah. He's more like her than he's like Jonathan, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Jeff is like, oh, we want them to activate the idols by using this secret phrase. Like people, I'm like, I love this. This is so awesome. And then all the other producers like, this is the dumbest thing. And then Marianne probably sees and she's like, oh, this is so cool. A code word? Oh yeah, I can't wait.
It's almost like how the rabbits live in. What was her phrase? Like how rabbits live inside.
Like the rabbit in the mailbox.
Rabbits in mailboxes.
Yeah.
Probst was like, this is why you do it. This is why you go out and recruit people from Canada, because they know what it's like.
He knows that if he says dig, Marianne, dig, she's gonna dig. She's gonna dig hard.
So you gotta dig.
You gotta dig that giant ball out of the ground.
Dave, you brought much joy to my life today.
You gotta dig deep.
Oh my god. I mean, so many interesting characters, but there are a couple where you're just like, and they kind of make the show in that way too. You're like, they're such good villains, in my head anyway, so that's how Tori's the villain of the season.
Yeah,
so far, right?
Geez,
like,
by far.
Tori, she's like the most like on the nose villain, like almost like mustache twirling, like you see her coming a million miles away. It's just like
okay.
She's the Act 1 into Act 2 villain, the straightforward villain, right? And then they reveal the actual villain at the end because she gets bodied.
Imagine she wins out.
She won every way.
She's gonna win every immunity challenge, and then who has her in the draft? Jen.
As long as she gets Jonathan out, that's her plan.
Rox would lose his mind.
Yeah, well, that is a great rivalry here. The Roxroy versus Tori rivalry here is quite interesting, and the whole thing that happened with Tori basically saying Roxroy should have thanked them for this
Lord.
this advantage. This twist was ridiculous, and like the whole beginning of the episode, where he wouldn't tell her about the little retreat he did, and everything with Tori and Roxroy is like, you're gonna see one of them's gonna vote each other out, and I'm really hoping it's Roxroy over Tori. I mean, I really am.
Well,
And
she's
there
the
was
reason
nothing really
really.
to tell from the mountain summit too. There's nothing really to tell.
Yeah, he's
No.
like, nothing really happened. I did what was best for the tribes. Like, go away, And she's like, no, there was something more. Tell me, Roxroy.
Yeah.
I must know.
Yeah, she's like Sleeping Beauty's villain or whatever. Like Cruella DeVille from.
She's like Cruella DeVille, or the one in friggin' Little Mermaid, even.
Yeah,
Ursula.
She's like Ursula a little bit. Yeah, she's just like, you get you by with your charms, your pretty looks. Yeah, I don't know. Who's that? Oh,
Shabil's bad. Now we
can't hear you, man.
I'm muting myself as much as I can because you're cracking me up, Dave. Okay,
I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll here tonight. Yeah,
sorry, folks.
I'm here all night. Sort of, actually, for a little bit more.
She is the on-the-nose villain, and the next villain's probably right now Chanel. Right?
We're just back on that whole on the Tori versus Roxroy thing.
Right.
Like, so Tori's the only member from the blue team tribe that was on that winning group tonight with Jonathan, right? So when they were like, well, who do we send? We send Lindsay or Roxroy? She's like, send Roxroy, he's the worst. And they're and because Jonathan is inclined, Jonathan and Marianne for that matter, are inclined to help Lindsay anyway. They're like, well, Lindsay needs to eat. Look, she's skinnier than Roxroy, so Roxroy can go there. And then he goes there, and then he takes that power away from Tori, right? Makes her unimmune after the challenge, but she wins immunity back just to spite Roxroy at the end. It's great. It was great just to see it all work out.
It was, and that is the interesting thing that Probst could totally have noticed that. But he never does he never pits the contestants against each other. That's one thing I noticed Probst never does. Like, he easily could have been like, Roxroy, how do you feel that Tori has now won immunity?
He'll do that at Tribal, but not usually in the challenges.
Right. No, yeah, he does. He really he lets the game play, which I think is something that I don't think I really ever thought about before. But he definitely, that's a conscious effort.
Sometimes I think some of his questions at Tribal are too leading or too pressing, or
I disagree, because we know that Tribal is a lot longer than what we currently see. So he probably has a ton of questions that he provides, and we only see the segments that are relevant for the episode.
Right. Yeah. They apparently go for hours.
With Marianne, oh my gosh.
Right.
She interjects in every single question. We're like, we want to go home before sunrise. Okay, stop talking.
It's 4 a.m. Probst is like, it's time to vote. But wait, I'm not ready to vote.
Yeah. Let me tell you about the rabbit in the mailbox.
Can you filibust the Tribal?
And just say I'm not ready to vote for 4 hours straight, and just be like,
just try to wait people out.
If anybody would do it would be High. I think High, I could see doing it. He's like, I'm not voting all night. That's how it's going to be.
Right. It just becomes a montage of just him talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
was there anything we missed in this episode so far? I know we've been going for about an hour and 12.
This was a great episode.
It was.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
2 episodes, really. But yeah.
Episodes. Sweeps. Sweeps is a wonderful thing.
It sweeps. Yeah. And now we got this merge, and I'm really curious to see where this goes. Obviously, whoever wins immunity next is going to be a big part. But who do you think is the biggest target right now?
I mean, after Jonathan. Well, you mean who? Marianne and Tori are definitely
and Chanel.
And Chanel are all possibilities to go home at any time. And then so is Jonathan.
I think Jonathan's gonna, not Jonathan. I think Chanel's she's gonna float on by, because there's just too many people to focus on, and she's untrustworthy. Don't tell her anything.
I could see Drea and Chanel hooking up at some point too.
Yeah.
Maybe,
but
but
they just have similar dispositions, and kind of might be able to bond.
because yeah, like Drea took what Mike told her earlier on about Chanel so seriously. There's a couple times where Chanel kind of comes close to Drea, and then basically Drea runs away every time. Right? She's just like, no, I don't want any part of you. Like, get out of here.
Was it the first time they split up immediately when she shows up? The second time was like, let's make a conscious effort. Let's include her. It's like, yeah, we were just talking, and we're all into you.
And we want to vote at Roxroy, right?
Yeah. And then everyone's like, silence. And then it's like, okay, well, there's some crabs I want to look after. And they split apart again. And it's just so obvious that everyone just seems so uncomfortable with her.
Mary, are you asking Jonathan, like, why not Jonathan? Is that the question?
Why didn't they vote him out? Or why, but what, why did they?
Oh, Jonathan, but why?
Jonathan, but why? Or I maybe she was responding to the question of like, who do we think is the biggest target?
Oh,
why
get rid
of
of
him?
Jonathan is, I mean, he's the biggest man out there. He's an obvious target just from his physique,
Intimidation factor, like like she's saying as much, like because you see, like Romeo's like we have to get him out because he will defeat, and the way that Tori thinks, but Tori defeated him in that challenge, and he wasn't even second place.
Nope. No, he screwed
up.
I'm saying we're going to start
seeing
perception. A lot more challenges like those. We're going to see challenges like those. He's not going to be able to just run through them.
No. And the more that they get into puzzles and things like that, he'll struggle even more. I believe. Like we'll see. Like we'll see if he's more if he's a great combination of brains and brawn. But even Lindsay's like he sucks at puzzles. Forget it. Like
we put Marianne on the puzzles.
Marianne's on the puzzles. Like don't you tell her to go faster, or to flip, or to do prep work.
You let her take her time. She'll get it done.
Oh Lord. Yeah. I was so pulling for that team to make a comeback.
Me too.
Just to put it in Marianne's face,
especially after she said, "Oh, very helpful." Like,
yeah,
it was like,
like, come on, Marianne, I have you in the draft. You're not helping my chances of you winning this game. This is almost worse, right? But I'm really just hoping that Omar wins. That's more my long-term goal. And if Marianne wins, it's a bonus.
I'm excited to see who wins. I'm so excited.
I would want food. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long.
And if you want burgers, you'll have your choice of 3 burgers. You got the quesadilla burger.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
Or you got the classic bacon burger.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You can tell which one Jeff likes the best. He likes the whiskey burger.
He likes the whiskey bacon burger.
Yeah, he likes the. You play that again, Dave. I gotta hear that one.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
No. Give me the whole
dessert.
thing.
Oh, you want the whole thing?
And if you want burgers, you'll have your choice of 3 burgers. You got the quesadilla burger.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
Or you got the classic bacon burger.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he doesn't like that one as much. He's like classic bacon burger.
Yeah.
No, you get the
Like,
whiskey bacon.
He's like, I can't pump up the classic bacon burger as much as the whiskey bacon burger. That burger is far superior. And the quesadilla burger, you know what? That's creative. I'll say that pretty cool too.
Wait,
but
how does a quesadilla burger work? Is it just a quesadilla?
Yeah, literally, that's what it is. If we just saw it, it's just like a big hunk of meat and it's in like a quesadilla.
Is the quesadilla the buns of the burger?
No, I think it's
isn't it?
I think there's a bun. I think there's like a patty, and I think that there's also a quesadilla like in there. Like I think it's.
I would imagine if I was making a quesadilla burger, I would make the bun the quesadilla.
Well, I think that's logical. Well, maybe we gotta look at Applebee's. We all have to go to Applebee's together, guys. So we have to find out what's going on with the quesadilla burger.
We're going to Niagara Falls, or we're going to friggin' Ajax or Innisfil.
Pickering. Yeah. Well, we're going to Ajax to find Marianne. Marianne, where are you? We're going to track her down.
Like, hi, guys.
Hi, here's Marianne. I'm swinging a machete. Yeah. Exactly. Jeff, you got any leads there on the quesadilla burger?
Yeah, I'm working on it. One sec.
All right. Well,
deep dive research.
For dessert.
Dessert? Hell yeah, dessert.
The Applebee's brownie.
Yeah. I love brownie.
Which seems like such a immediate. The Applebee's brownie. I'm like, wait. You're naming drinks after Shark Tanks and everything like that.
And the specialty drink is the Shark Bowl.
The Shark
Bowl. Yes.
But your brownie is just called the Applebee's brownie?
It's the Applebee's brownie. And like Marianne's like, I love brownies.
I bet she does.
Yeah.
The it looks like the quesadilla burger is not served anymore at Applebee's.
What?
I mean, at least it's not on their menu. But the
Are
whiskey.
you looking at .ca or .com?
Canadian website or the American?
This is the American website.
Ooh.
It's the whiskey bacon burger is definitely there. You have the classic bacon cheeseburger. You have a bacon cheddar grilled chicken sandwich. But I don't see a quesadilla burger. Not that they don't serve it, but it's not on their main menu.
Oh my god, quesadilla burger.
But it does look like it's a burger, like meat inside a quesadilla, which doesn't make it a quesadilla burger.
Doesn't, but that's just what they call it.
That's just
There's an old El Paso copycat Applebee's quesadilla burger.
Right.
Page not found. They're trying to erase this thing from existence.
Erase it from memory.
Yeah,
You can release that recipe.
No, that's an unholy alliance of quesadillas and burgers.
The original owners is fighting Applebee's for compensation.
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
I'm a burger kind of guy.
Right, burger, Mike. That's right.
Oh my god.
All right, well, guys, I think we can close the books on this 2-hour episode. It was a good one. It was a lot of fun. I feel like the season's got a lot of momentum going in here, and I think that there's a lot of great possibilities. A lot of people rootable in this season. I find more so than last season, where I wasn't as invested.
You've had what, a quesadilla burger?
I've had one. It's okay. She's saying don't hype up the quesadilla burger.
It's probably not very good, but that's why. I think Jeff has had maybe one or two of those whiskey bacon burgers before a challenge.
Come on.
You got the whiskey bacon burger.
Yes.
He has it in his tent. They probably had Applebee's for like a week.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like the people that came out, like the servers. I don't think they were native Fijians. I'm going to go on the record. They did. If you
Just
had to look at.
They flown
Dave,
in.
just imagine for your job. It's like, we're sending you out to Fiji because we're going to do a co-promotion with Survivor.
It'd be great during the pandemic. Hey, we're going to send you to Fiji, and you're going to have to serve some Survivor players like a quesadilla burger or a whiskey bacon burger, or all of the above. Right? You know, it just Jonathan eating all the burgers. Give me all the burgers. Give me all the shark bowls. Give me all the. What did he say about the wings? He's like, these wings are perfect.
Crispy on the outside, tender inside.
There's something about the food of Survivor that I do enjoy. Like, just like you see these hungry people love it so much more.
It's been
But
13
Sessionino
days.
says that the pizza sucks, though.
But they have no rice. I agree. Give them no rice. They give only the consolation people the rice tonight.
Well, do you think that Jonathan was kept tonight because he was actually getting food? Like, do you think that's also a part of it?
He caught a lot of food.
He did. He got like an octopus. He caught like a crab. He
Almost got a
Well, yeah,
stingray.
Right, we didn't talk, like. I gotta think that's got to be in their minds, right? Like, how much hungrier can they get?
Yeah.
I mean, I would keep him around, just to, get me food.
Like, you think with all the seafood they can catch around there, plus whatever else, it shouldn't be that bad.
No, well, unless you're Erica, and you know what I mean. Like, a lot of players just sit there and take it and just suffer. You know what I mean?
Just suffer.
It's
Because
very few actually where you get an Aussie or you get a Jonathan that can actually use the spear properly,
right, and actually bring in food.
Yeah,
And not have a
it's not that
dislocated
hard.
arm.
Like, I would like to think I could do it, but maybe I couldn't. I don't know. Like,
Well, that you need to go to Fiji and get a spear.
I'm going, guys. I'm going to Survivor 44. That's my. I'm sure I'm too late for 43 at this point. Or maybe in 45.
45.
And what about that beetle that landed on Roxroy? We didn't even talk
That was
about that.
awesome. Loved it. The winged beetle. It's Paul
Was
McCartney.
Was it a dung beetle?
So it was
No.
I don't know, some sort of flying beetle.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Love Roxroy. Nothing
Rocks,
phases him.
rocks. All right, Dave.
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the Big Brother podcast. So meet us over there.
Oh no, we're not doing Big Brother
We're-
tonight.
We weren't doing Big Brother tonight.
Oh, we're not doing Big Brother. Oh,
No.
Yeah, because
It's
we're
2
like,
hour episode.
it's 2-hour episode. We had to do this. So we'll be on tomorrow to talk about Big Brother Canada 10 eviction. Jeff, are you curling?
Tomorrow I am at 6:45, so depends what time you're gonna be on.
We'll be on a little later because I have to do the Picard podcast first. So if you're able
Should be able
to
to-
join, if you're able to join us by 10 p.m., we'll be
You
talking
might have
about
to. You might have to fill me in on what happened.
Yeah, we'll tell you what's going on with the eviction because tomorrow night, there will be the seventh, I guess, eviction, or actually no, eighth because they've had a double eviction in there. So the week 7 eviction is tomorrow on Big Brother Canada 10. We'll be talking about that, and then in a week's time, we'll be back to talk about the next episode of Survivor 42, episode 8. It's going to be called "You Better Be Wearing a Seatbelt" out there in Fiji.
Right.
I might not be here next week.
Okay, what?
Yeah, because it's game 3, I believe.
For the Raptors?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a home game.
It's a home game. You got it's understandable. Yeah. Okay. So next week we'll be talking. Jeff and I may be talking about that one. But I'm sure we'll catch up with you the week after that. And what else, guys? And then here on Super Mario Brothers podcasting, we talk about other things other than just Survivor and Big Brother. We also talk about Marvel, the MCU podcasts we've been covering since WandaVision. If you like those things, we the most recent one we did was back in January. Jeff and I talked about Hawkeye, but Moon Knight has now got 3 of their 6 episodes out. When all 6 episodes are finally done, we are going to break that whole season down. And then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming up on May 6th that comes out. So probably that weekend we'll cover that episode or that movie. Sorry. And
got your tickets? I know Dave, you got. Jeff, did you get your tickets
For what?
Doctor Strange.
Not yet. No,
I'm seeing it with the smell-o-vision, Jeff.
I got these, so I'll head to a Cineplex near me.
Yeah. going for that premium experience. And then what else? And then Ozark, Jeff, we'll be talking about in the near future as well.
That's coming up.
And I think Westworld is coming back, I think, at some point. There's supposed to be a season 4.
I don't care about the hype, but that comes when it comes. Yeah.
It is. That seems to be how HBO feels about it too. They're like, you'll get it when you get it, and it will be what it is.
That's exactly what, and it'll be good. But it's just it's not one of those shows you build up.
If you guys ever want to talk about Severance, I would totally talk about Severance.
Jeff, did you not hear about this new show that Dave discovered called Severance?
It only came out in February.
It's pretty good. Dave told me all about it. It was Ben Stiller and he's producing it and everything that's going on with that.
If it only was on your radar, Jaemeel.
I've been watching it from the get-go, dude.
Yeah, okay. I'm all caught up. I've watched the whole thing. So great finale. It was one of the best finales I've seen in TV in years. For a lot of different shows. So a lot of potential there. Jeff, if you have not checked that out, go check that out. That's Super Mario Brothers podcasting. Also, we have another channel, Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek themed channel. On Monday nights, we're talking about Star Trek Enterprise with Jody Simpson and Adam Woodward and Kevin Millard. We just talked about the episode. What was that episode? It was
is it the Dean Stockwell episode, or is that next week?
That's next week. Next week we're talking about the Dean Stockwell episode. The one we just did featured Odo. It was called Oasis. It had Renee Auberjonois and had Annie Wershing, who was the new Borg Queen. So she in her first on-screen appearance, it was her first going off of the stage and going onto the small screen, and now and she's done some movies as well. So anyway, we talk about Star Trek Enterprise on Monday nights. On Tuesday nights, at least for one more week until we may have to switch it up for a bit for ball hockey. Will be next. Last night we were talking about For the Uniform on our Star Trek Deep Space 9 at 9-ish podcast. Next week is In Purgatory's Shadow. That will be the next thing. So if you've ever seen Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we've been going through all those episodes, breaking them down, rating them, giving the trivia, giving the fun facts. All of it's there. And then on Thursdays, we're talking about the newest episode, which right now is Star Trek Picard, Season 2, Episode 7, coming up this tomorrow. I'll be talking about that with Jody Simpson, Adam Woodward, and Davin Skellhorn. It's called Monsters, which is also going to feature the wife of Patrick Stewart, who plays Jean-Luc Picard, Sunny Ozell, apparently. She's going to be in the episode. And then Star Trek Radio Theater where we do script reads of Star Trek over on that channel. And most recently we did the episode Darmok from Star Trek The Next Generation's 5th season. We did this with our friends. This was a real fun one. If you can listen to the live read, it's up on our YouTube channel, or the full audio produced drama will come out probably next week or so. And what else am I forgetting, guys? Check out Trivial Debates, our one where we argue about movies, TV, sports. That's a monthly show. We usually do it on the last Sunday of every month. Eamon Mater set to host the next one, and I will be doing that on May 1st.
Yep.
Which is coming up. And Chris Seymour going to be competing in that one. Also, check out our Friends podcast on Wednesday nights, the Hellburn podcast. Hellbound, sorry, that's late. Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan, Discovery's own Michael Chan.
Yep.
You can also check out Let's Talk About Fighting Games with Sam Jerka, also known as Eamon Mater, along with Super Smash Bros. Seth and Paranoia. They're talking Paranoia. They're talking about Mega Man. They're talking about Baiku. They're talking about King of Fighters. Check it out. And of course, check out Davin Skahorn, our cousin and yours. He's doing the Locutors of Trek, his Star Trek theme channel, and he's X-Men the animated series X-Rated, where him and his friend Andre go through each episode of X-Men the animated series and talk about it and rate it, very similar to what we do on our Live Long and podcast. Anyway, that's it. And we're gonna come off here for Survivor 42, episodes 6 and 7. You can hide on Survivor, and the devil you do or the devil you don't. All right. Thank you, Jaemeel. Thank you, Jeff. And until next time, guys, remember, we'll always have Applebee's.
Cheers to us, y'all. We'll always have Applebee's.